Another topic that I would like to address is malformed HTML. One of the questions on the forums was, are we going to talk about mistakes in web pages? What if a real web developer forgets to close off a tag or makes a sort of subtle mistake in punctuation? Are we going to talk about that in the web browser that we built for this class? And the answer is yes. In fact, very prescient on your part, that's a very predictive question. We're going to get to it in Unit 3, exactly the next unit. We're going to talk about recognizing malformed HTML in JavaScript. But in this class, we're mostly going to talk about recognizing them. And for the particular project that we work on for our simple web browser, if the HTML is malformed, we're not going to do anything about it. We just won't render that part of the web page. In practice, web browsers put a huge amount of effort into being very forgiving. They want to render as much information as possible, even if the web page is out of date or written without knowledge of the standards or in any other way messed up. And this approach of sort of keeping going is sometimes known as error recovery or error tolerance or fault tolerance. In Unit 3, we're going to talk about breaking up tokens and seeing if they match a particular structure, seeing if they're in the language of a formal grammar that describes all of JavaScript or all of web pages. You know, in the real world, a lot of web pages are not. They don't match the formal idealized grammar I've written down on the walls of Plato's cave. Similarly, not every JavaScript program adheres to exactly the same idea of, to pick a timely example, where the semicolons go after statements. So in practice, what you'll often want to do if you're doing commercial software, if you want to make your customers as happy as possible by supporting everything that they've written, you'll write a bunch of duplicate rules. For example, you might write one regular expression that accepts normal numbers, but if people make a common mistake when writing numbers, maybe they write multiple period signs or something like that, you might write another rule that accepts those and maybe prints out some warning, but then does its best to figure out what the value is and keeps going. Again, in real-world industrial software development for a web browser, this sort of error recovery when you're doing lexical analysis or syntactic analysis is of critical importance because the vast majority of web pages are not standards compliant. In this class, we're going to tell you how to tell the difference between good HTML and bad, between well-formed JavaScript and ill-formed JavaScript. But I'm only going to require that you deal with well-formed strings. Once you know how to do it the good way, though, you could do it for ill-formed strings. You'd have all the tools after finishing this class. It would just be more busy work, elbow grease. It would take additional time, and it wouldn't really teach you more concepts. And that's why I'm not going to focus on it.